Welcome back to the Radio of Horror YouTube channel. We're going back to 1978. Time of disco music and bell bottoms, but also awesome Alice Cooper music and many other things of the 70s. And we're talking about the next RL Stine Fear Street Trilogy film, which debuted on Netflix today, July 9th. And it's a summer camp film, so hackers back to the old summer camp horror slasher films. And we're talking about Fear Street Part 2, 1978, with Cati The Blonde in front of Fear.
Hey there, freaks. Yes, it is I, Cati The Blonde in front of Fear, talking to you about Fear Street Part 2, 1978, starring Emily Rudd, Ryan Simpkins, Sadie Sink, McCabe Skye, and Jillian Jacobs. Directed by Lee Janiak and based on the stories, the Fear Street books by R.L. Stine, and written by Zach I'm going to butcher this, Okowicz and Lee Janiak. The film has a recap of what happened in 1994. So if you're a little lost, if you go straight into 78, you know what? No big deal, because it gives you everything that happened in 94. And at this time, our two leads, Josh and Dina, are trying to figure out why this is happening to their lives. And it takes you to July 12th, 1978. And listeners, I got to say, July 12th, that's a damn fine day. If ever I do know one, let me wink, wink, tell you that. Now, we are at Camp Nightwing, and fun fact, over 300 years ago, Sarah Fear was hung and tortured as a witch in this little area where they now put a summer camp for kids. I mean, real estate must be really hard to find in Shady Side, because I don't know. I think if you have this history of hanging a witch, probably putting stuff with the kids thing right there isn't the best idea, but I know that is me. Our lead girl, Ziggy, played by Sadie Sink, is being bullied by a number of people. One of them, a girl named Sheila, who is played by Chiara Aurelia. If you are familiar with I think it's a great show that's on Freeform, Cruel Summer. She is in this, and she's in Cruel Summer 2021. Chiara, or however you say her name, this is your year, girl, and you are killing it. She is a amazing antagonist, and she plays that bitch role, and that is very similar to what you would see any kind of like sleepaway camp. She does that to a T. Ziggy is just a girl who's trying to live her life. The Shady Siders and the Sunnyvales kids are all at this camp, definitely pitted against each other from day one. And Ziggy's sister, Cindy, is the Vestal Virgin that we all know and love. That's, the stereotypical final girl, so sweet and innocent. And her boyfriend, Tommy, sweet as can be. Unfortunately, Tommy gets the possessed. He gets possessed by, that Sarah Fear witch curse, and goes nuts. Now, sequels normally have double the body count and normally have double the gore. Let me tell you, this was anyone who's into horror, and digital practical effects, man, they freaking lay it on. The gore is turned up to 11 on this one than it was on 94. This guy is just, it's no holds bar. Like, you expect a camp, there's going to be some kids. You might have here's some blood on the floor. Oh no, something happened. Oh no. You see axe in faces. You see axe in chests. You see knives. People getting stabbed, people getting decapitated, people getting their heads they do everything, and they let the viewer see it. And I'm digging it, I'm a horror girl. I love watching this stuff. And 78 like made my day. I love that I think the acting is more even in this one. I definitely think the way they did the musical little snips was also more even. I felt like in 94 they kind of overdid a little bit much, but in this one you're going to have some familiar songs, but not as not as layered and on top of each other, I think, in 94. But I think 78 is one to beat. It is fantastic. I'm looking forward very much to 1666. And I'm also looking forward to seeing what the character of Nurse Lane is going to be doing in 6066, because if people who saw 94 didn't recognize her, Nurse Lane was also in 1994. Oh yes she was, because when the character Kate was babysitting the two little twins that she was babysitting, she brought over to the neighbor's house, and that neighbor was, drum roll please, Nurse Lane, Jordana Spiro, and now she is in 1978, and you definitely find more of you find out more of a backstory on her. So I'm thinking there's going to be something interesting going on with her in 1666, and some of the or whatever else happens with this series. I would like many more years to come. It sounds like they've got some amazing killers that they've got going on. A few things I wish that when they do the younger versions of the people, they realize someone with brown eyes can't have blue eyes in 1994. That's just a little nitpicking detail that I wish they would focus on. What's another thing? Something I noticed is that it's definitely obvious that whenever these killers come around, there's only one or two that I've seen that they hit the Sunnyvalers, but there's definitely something going on with the goods, because and I said this in my last review. I know the good name is definitely something that's gone on with has a history with witch and trials on the East Coast and all that stuff. So I'm wondering what the history is with that, and you'll see when you see 1978, because there's something very obvious that happens with the goods. But this film has all the goods. I could not recommend it enough. I loved everything about it. I love so much about it, and I highly recommend it. I cannot wait for 1666. But honestly, I'm watching this again while I'm doing this review, and I'll watch it again and again. I think it's incredible.
It's kind of funny that we completely skipped the 80s, where like slasher and genre kind of exploded in horror movies, and a lot of these R.L. Stine novels were written in the late 80s, early 90s. But we completely skip over the 80s, and the next film we're going all the way back in time, like 400 years
from now, yeah, and then 300 years from 1978, and then when you see what is it? When you see 1994, you realize that the tree, again, it was used to hang Sarah Fear. Then it was, one of the pinnacle places in Camp for Kids. And then it's almost ritualized in the mall. It's in the Shady Side Mall, which I'm like, dude, I mean, it's great that this tree is doing this, but it's also kind of weird knowing the history of it. I mean, I would think from a visitor or coming out, like, if you're looking up stuff for Shady Side, it's like, find our tree in our mall that was used to hang witches. Come by Shady Side Mall. I don't know why they would be doing that, but again, I guarantee there's something going on with the mayor and the sheriff with their family. Was blown away by Ryan Simpkins, who plays Alice, because if anyone looks her up on IMDb, I knew her face. I've seen her in so many films, and then she's completely changed her look, and I'm loving seeing what she's going to be doing. She's such a young actress and has done and worked with so many like amazing directors, and in already so many incredible films that I love seeing her in this and knowing that she's like going into even more things, because she's just such a talent.
Excellent. And we'll be back next week as well for the going all the way back to good old Pilgrim times, 1666, which, 666, haha. It's very clever what they did there. For the final chapter of the Sarah Fear novel series. And then we'll see, hopefully they'll make an announcement if they're going to be doing more of these. It would be great to see a TV series on Netflix, but we know how those seem to be going. So maybe it's better to do these as standalone of the week movies, which would be great. There's a lot of Fear Street stories out there. A lot of stuff RL Stine wrote outside Fear Street that has nothing to do with Goosebumps, so it's glad that they're tapping into some of his other material. I've mentioned Halloween Night before. He's done a couple vampire stories I would love to see get done. The Babysitter quadrilogy would be fantastic. That would be 4 stories. The Cheerleader saga would be amazing. That's the first evil that's basically possessed cheerleaders killing people. Awesome. That would be fantastic to do. They did 3 of those plus 1 more, which isn't really part of the trilogy. Come back next week for Fear Street Part 3, 1666 on the Radio Horror YouTube channel. Check out Katie on Facebook and Radio of Horror on Facebook, or send us an email at radioofhorror@gmail.com. And we'll be back next week with another exciting episode of the Fear Street Saga on the Radio of Horror YouTube channel with Cati The Blonde in front of Fear.